So welcome all to our webinar today. My name is Mark Durgan. I'm the project director for the Pennsylvania Care Partnership. And it is with great honor that we have a impromptu somewhat session today that was kind of more of a last minute piece, and we do appreciate everyone being here. Just so you know that we are in Zoom webinar, so your cameras are off and you are muted today. So with that, it is my pleasure to introduce and bring to you all together on the webinar that we're doing today, which is how to use social media to reach youth during a mental health awareness month, and really kind of this focus on the Got Your Back challenge. Again, this is hosted by the PA Care Partnership in association with the Office of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services. And this presentation is provided by the York County System of Care and their social media agency experts and partners. Kylie Social. Sorry, I'm looking. Always, it's a challenging word for me sometimes. So welcome. So today we have York County. We'll share tips on reaching young people using social media, including TikTok, during May as part of the May Mental Health Awareness Month events inspired. This is really inspired by youth and teens. During the presentation, if you have questions, please put them into the Q&A feature, which you'll find by running your mouse along the bottom of your Zoom screen. When you put your questions in Q&A, please let us know if you want to ask your question with live audio and video. We can always bring you up or unmute you and turn you on, or we can just have the question there. If the question is just a question as it is, and you don't put in there, want to ask it per, we'll just assume that it is for that, just myself to ask. So I will be your moderator today. With that, it gives me a great pleasure to introduce my friend and Colleen Igo. So Colleen is with the York County System of Care as the System and Community Initiatives Manager. This is in York County Human Services. And with that, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Colleen, who will introduce our social marketing staff who will be talking today.
Great.
Colleen.
Okay, thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. So as Mark said, I'm Colleen Igo. I'm really excited to be here today, especially with these two ladies that are going to be presenting. We have Paige Knapp. She is the CEO of Kylie Social. And then we also have Rhea Swope, who is the COO of Kylie Social. So you've got their names, but let me tell you what's behind the names. It's people like us who really care about our youth and where they're at in their mental health journey. When I knew Paige since she was a little girl, and I said I would not say this, but I am, who has grown into an amazing person with this amazing company where they are taking us on a journey on how to reach our youth. And that's through this TikTok campaign that they're going to be talking to you about. I do want to also give a shout out. My one phone call to her was, hey, can you help us out? And even before I finished, she said, we're on board. So they have been a tremendous, very much a generous contributor and making all this possible because of their generosity and their donation to make this happen. So the thought was, we want it to be more than what is happening in York County. We want this to go worldwide. Why not? So we want to be able to offer this turnkey program to you all to take to your communities. And the cool thing, being able to customize it with your own hashtag. So let's get on with the show, and they'll tell you the inner workings of this whole TikTok campaign. So Paige, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Colleen, and thank you, Mark. And thank you all for being here with us today. We're thrilled to be able to share the work that we've been very lucky to do alongside Colleen and her team over the last few months in preparation for Mental Health Awareness Month, which is now 9 days underway, which is so crazy to say. I felt like it was light years away, and now we're already speeding through. And as Colleen and Mark mentioned, I am joined by Rhea Swope, who is my partner in crime and absolute expert when it comes to social media, especially TikTok. So we're thrilled to be here with you today. Just a little bit of an agenda setting for what we'll talk through. this session is really, this has probably been perceived by now, really informal. We're super approachable and we just love to talk about this kind of stuff. So please feel free to drop your questions in the chat. Sort of two parts here. We're going to tee this up just by sharing a little bit about what we do in the world of social media and how and why social media is really an accessible place to reach and speak directly to young people in a positive way, and to show up in spaces where they are in a way that's impactful. And we're going to talk about why exactly we opted to create a social media challenge as part of our partnership with the York County System of Care as a method of reaching young people and sharing these messages this month. So we'll talk about kind of our tips and tricks and how we see campaigns like this and others being successful in spaces like social and on TikTok and other channels. And then we're going to tee all that up to talk about exactly what we've created here and really give you the tools to take these campaigns that we've developed back into your communities and to make this super easy. I mean, what's better than sort of getting the roadmap to being able to bring a social media component to life, because we will be the first to commiserate with you and say it is no small task and it's not easy to put these kinds of things together. So we want you to take what we've done and be able to use it in your own spaces. And as Colleen said, make it yours so that you don't have to build this from the ground up. And as we share about our campaigns, we'll also share kind of the background of in order to do this work, we spoke to a lot of young people across York County in focus groups, students, basically ages 7th through 12th grades. So we'll share kind of our findings so that we can give you some of the anecdotal background as to why we know these messages are powerful and how they were really built and guided by the teens that we spoke to. Then we'll just show you our resources and toolkit that we put together, which you'll be able to access after this presentation, and you'll be able to take and use as you want. And then we'll open it up for Q&A because we know this is a big topic. So we want to be able to answer any questions you might have, whether we cover it here or not. If you have a social question, like I said, we love to discuss it. So throw it at us. So we'll just jump in.
So essentially, why social media? Why is social media the platform we are using, to host such an important message? And it's because, quite simply, that's where the youth are. Why social media? It's because their attention spans are short, probably because of social media and how quick the content being served to them, goes. So we feed into that. That's where they are. That's where they're talking to their friends. That's where they're posting content. That's where they're seeing influencers and getting new ideas about the world. Social media isn't bad. There's a lot of negative discourse around, the impacts of social media and what can be done from it. However, can be a huge place of enjoyment and an escape, honestly, especially in a world where there's a lot going on. Being able to escape to a little device in your pocket is a really powerful tool, and can certainly be a space that cultivates positivity and community and things like that. So, it's a space it's an opportunity for us to step into and put content out there that will impact them in a positive way, considering social media is a powerful tool. And why TikTok specifically? That's a conversation we have with the businesses and brands we work with every single day. 2 years ago, it might have just been an app that, kids were dancing on or lip singing to, and we wouldn't have paid much mind to it, but it is an ever growing platform, one that continues to prove itself to be a valid space to exist, not just for fun stuff, not just for young people, but for impactful campaigns like this. So it's just some stats for you to see. In 2021 alone, 47% of TikTok users were between the ages of 10 and 29. So that just goes to show the large majority are younger people on the app. And it's the largest growing social media in the world with more than 1 billion active users. So more so than Instagram and Facebook, or even, MySpace back in the day could say for themselves. TikTok is just a beast that continues to get bigger. With that being said, this challenge and, our efforts for Mental Health Awareness Month, taking it onto TikTok where they already are and where they're already listening, is exactly why we went that direction.
And if anyone's curious what an activation number is on that last stat, that would be the amount of average times that app is opened by a single user in a day. So 43 activations, meaning someone is checking the app almost 50 times a day, is kind of crazy when you put it into context, but it says a lot about user behavior on TikTok. It's an app that people will open and just flip through for a few minutes or for longer if they've got the time. But it goes to show that you basically have 40 on average opportunities to be in front of a young person every day as they're opening the app. So it makes it sort of prime real estate to share really powerful messages like this one in a space where they already are. And we know that they are on a regular basis. So for good or for worse, 43 times a day is not too shabby for activation points.
As far as tips and tricks for, using social media in general, whether it's, not just a mental health awareness month, but, whatever the messages you're trying to get out, we just put together a little list of, our go-to things that we implement for our clients and strategy in general for social media when trying to reach younger people. So the first thing we have here is just be authentic. I mean, the young people are kind of the ones that drive what trends, and they're not always the ones creating the content, but they definitely decide like what sticks and what doesn't. And so the second you try to force something or read a script behind a screen or make it too edited and too perfect, they'll be the first to pick it up. So being as authentic as possible, as in the moment as possible, it serves a lot better when people are scrolling through their timeline, and elevating young voices as well. You don't have to be the one speaking the message you're trying to get across to the young people. You can elevate the voices that are already being heard in that space, to do the messaging for you. A lot of times young people are also more susceptible to hearing a message that's from someone around their age or someone that they, already are influenced by. So definitely finding people who are already advocating in those spaces, already taking up space there, and bringing them into your efforts can be really powerful, just like influencers as well. And let them lead the conversation. So, we'll talk a little bit more about how we got into our challenge, but we focus grouped with a lot of the children in order to, get an idea of what it is they need to hear. What are the mental health challenges they're facing? What is it they're dealing with on a daily basis? So letting them lead in terms of letting them lead the conversation, letting them lead what they want to see, and really just listening to what they're saying. Because, you might be listening for one thing and they might be speaking it in another way. And just like languages, you have to learn how to speak their language. And tapping into the trends. Obviously, trends is the most way to be authentic. If you see something trending and you think you can apply it to the message you're trying to put out there, it's always fun to see people get vulnerable and try something new. So hopping on trends, is a really great avenue to take. Paige, you can jump into if I'm missing anything, because I know you have a lot to add as well when it comes to like the content that's out there and how to make that work in your favor.
Yeah, I think and when we say trends, we should say, you'll probably hear the word trend when people are talking about TikTok, most specifically, because it's very common for a type of content to kind of show up, and then everyone sort of does their own spin on it, right? So for example, it might be around a song or a sound. In the early days of TikTok, it was like dances. So people would learn how to do, especially in the pandemic and quarantine, folks were learning TikTok dances left and right, and then contributing their own version of it to the platform. But it can also be things like sharing stories or kind of questions that you might answer as part of a trend. So when we say trends, that's sort of what we're referring to. But what we more broadly mean is the way that social media is being used is being led by young people, right? So the fact that TikTok is the app of choice for social media today is primarily driven by the interests of young people, who are one of the largest user bases, because they wanted highly visual content. They wanted to consume quick video rather than something a little more traditional like text posts on Facebook, which might have been more of the millennials' preferred method of receiving information on social. So when we say, tuning into trends, we don't just mean individual trends. We also mean letting the young folks lead the way in terms of telling us how they like to receive information, whether that's fun information or campaign-driven information like this. So that's really what that sort of refers to. But as a practice, part of like this whole notion of letting young people lead and understanding trends is listening on social media, right? So just being in the spaces where young people are, so that you can observe how they are organically interacting with one another. By doing this, that can feel sort of like an inaction, because you're not, throwing a post to them right away or sharing your website link with them or driving them to your campaign right away if you're taking the time to listen. But it goes a very long way, and it's why we were able to build a campaign that we can stand behind and feel that represents the young people, because the time was taken to really listen and tune into what they want to see and what's impactful to them. So as a theme, taking time to step back and listen in these spaces is really powerful.
Exactly.
And then at the end of the day, like, young people, they are able to handle and discuss very serious matters and very serious topics with a lot of levity. They understand the power of humor and fun to be able to share connections. So, and this is important for us to add here, because more than any other generation that we interact with on social media, this is true. And we find that having that ability to really bring levity into a conversation, to be lighthearted, is a great way to build trust very quickly with this audience. It's a way for them to understand this person or this page that I'm interacting with, if it's your, brand channel, they get it. They get me. They understand that we can be on the same level about this topic. And that doesn't mean taking something serious and making it a joke. It just means bringing in a little bit of lightheartedness to what you're sharing, and really meeting them at their level where they are, which is, generally speaking, a very fun group. They're very interested in having a good time, and I'm sure has something to do with a little bit of escapism there, right? Like they've been through quite a bit in their young lives, so where they can find humor and fun in the day is great. And as a tenant of social media across the board, and I probably should have said this at the start, but as an agency, we're very fortunate to work with over 20 clients across different brands, different industries, with different core audiences, some who do speak directly to Gen Z and young folks, others who are, looking at really specific audiences in the business world who are primarily composed of Gen X, baby boomers. So we see a lot of audiences and strategies on social media. And the one thing that holds true across every audience and every campaign and every brand we work with is this: if your content doesn't do one of these three things, it just falls flat. And that is, it should educate, entertain, or inspire. It can do all those things at one time if you can come up with something really great, which is even better. But at a minimum, it should fall into one of these three categories. And that's how we approach this work with developing a campaign for the young people that we are connecting with through the Got Your Back Challenge and the Mental Health Awareness Month campaign at large. We wanted to develop something that would educate them on mental health awareness at large and educate them on what it is they feel they need resource on. So we ask that question over and over: what do you feel you need? But also be a little bit fun, entertain them, right? That nobody wants to do anything that's super boring. And we also tapped into a little bit of inspiration, and we'll talk about a sort of secondary piece of our campaign that came together really organically out of response that we heard from our young people. So as you're thinking about, just in general, creating content for social media, the back pocket rule of thumb is educate, entertain, or inspire. If your piece of content that you're typing up to go live does one of those three things, then it's worth sharing, and it will cut through the clutter, because social media is a loud space. There is a ton of content across all platforms. So if you're going to post it, make it worthwhile and hit one of these three buckets. We dropped some ideas here about kind of how you can do that, especially around creating content for Mental Health Awareness Month. And it's sort of a tee up, because it's sort of what we did. We did go the route of a challenge when we created this campaign with York County System of Care. So that said, we can, Rhea, do you have any other tips to add before I move on?
No.
Okay, perfect. We will jump into sharing our campaign specifically and how you can take it back and to use your communities. Cool. So for some background. When we first started working with System of Care, we came in, and as Colleen mentioned, they said, we'd really like to reach young people during Mental Health Awareness Month. We'd really like to spread a message that they can latch onto. And so we immediately said, then let's get speaking to those young people, because we want this campaign, whatever it may be, to be driven by their insight, their needs, what they're asking for, and their creativity, because they are, so Ray and I are only like 10 years removed from high school, but even what they find creative and fun was different from what we might have found creative and fun. So we knew we certainly didn't want to assume that we knew how they would think to create on social media. So we did exactly that. We pulled together a ton of focus groups from across different schools and districts across York County, different ages as well. And every time we really just sort of asked them questions to pose an open discussion to say, you tell us what you want us to know about your experience with mental health, whether that's your experience individually, how you speak about it with your peers, your connection to mental health and your parents or your family and guardians, what you see on social media, what you wish you saw on social media. We had these really amazing, vulnerable conversations with young people. And over, as we had these conversations, no matter their age or no matter their school, we heard the same sort of themes resonating across their responses. Primarily, it was things like, I feel very alone, or I feel like I'm the only one that's feeling the way I'm feeling, no matter what that feeling was. Or, the pandemic was very isolating for me. I miss my friends. That was a very common theme. We often heard it's very hard to ask for help. Even when I know I want to ask for help, it's awkward or it's uncomfortable to put that into words. Peer to peer, we heard a lot of that. It's hard to check in on friends, but it's also peer or student to parent or child to parent. They want to raise their hand and say, hey, I'm struggling, but they're worried about the response they're going to get, or they feel like they're not going to be heard, or they've tried in the past and didn't feel heard, thus they don't want to try again. And we also heard, this theme of, I want other people to know, like, for example, in a classroom, they want the kids sitting next to them to know that if they ever needed them, that they would be there, even if they're not friends with that other student. But in today's, sort of social climate, it's not really easy to be like, tap, 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 hey, person I don't know, I just wanted you to know that I can be a resource for you, right? For fear of being perceived as weird or as, social, we heard a lot of like social skills are rusty. So like even on a good day, that would be challenging, but they haven't been like interacting with one another as much. So to go out of their way to be really, outwardly kind of, on the nose about something that's kind of sticky, like mental health, that was a no-go. So overwhelmingly in our focus groups, we really heard this refrain of, we want to feel connected to others. We don't want to feel like we're alone. And we want other kids our age to know that too, but we just don't know how to do that easily or in a way that doesn't feel weird. Thus, we developed a very simple challenge, which is based around this premise of, if it's difficult to say, hey, I'm here for you, then let's make a fun and easy way to show and tell others that, in fact, I do have your back, whatever that looks like and whatever that means. So this is an idea that was truly shaped and formed by the young people's opinions. If we had come in and made a challenge up on our own, I guarantee you it would not have been this. And that's just because we are not the generation that we're trying to reach, right? So we're really proud that this is driven by kind of their requests. And we're excited because it's a very simple theme, but in a time where we're seeing, no one ever wants to see that a young person has had suicidal ideations or, has even gone that route because they felt alone or because they didn't feel heard. So sometimes a very simple message is what resonates. And really that's what this challenge was based around. So we built this challenge. It's called the I've Got Your Back Challenge. We created a TikTok channel for it. You can visit it now. It's at Got Your Back Challenge on TikTok, which if you open the app and search Got Your Back Challenge, it will pop right up. And the challenge is officially underway. So the premise is very simple. And that is show others that you're here to support them during Mental Health Awareness Month by participating in the challenge. And how you participate is really simple. Find a fun, creative, clever, or heartfelt way to say or show, I've got your back during Mental Health Awareness Month and beyond. So if you check out the TikTok channel, you'll actually see some examples that we've created and also that others in our community have begun to create now that it is May and students are engaging in the challenge already. And the gamut really ranges, right? We have a science teacher who did a little science experiment and then held up a sign that said, I got your back. Our fun little ideas of sticking a Post-it note on your computer screen. You can do a nice kind of deed for somebody and then sort of show that process. In one video, my husband is bringing me a cup of coffee just as a surprise. And that's how he showed me that he's got my back. So there's lots of fun ways that this can be done. And we actually put together a very easy little graphic to show how to do the challenge. So yeah, it's very simple. Say or show how I've got your back. The more creative, the better. You can do it with a group. You can do it as a duo. You can do it by yourself. You can even just be heartfelt, turn the camera on and just say, hey, I just wanted to take this second during Mental Health Awareness Month to let everyone know that follows me on social media. I've got your back. If you ever need me, reach out. I'm here for you. So it's very simple. Film, post. If you are sharing a challenge submission, use the hashtag Got Your Back Challenge. If it's on TikTok, you can tag our account so that we can share it as well, which is at Got Your Back Challenge. Very easy. And you can also post this on any social channel. So to be clear, we did develop this for TikTok because the young people overwhelmingly said, we are on TikTok, so that's the place to be. They are not really Facebook users, surprise. But if you are an adult provider, education information provider, and you are on spaces like Facebook and Instagram, share your challenge submissions there too, because it is important that we kind of reach people wherever they are. So it doesn't just have to be on TikTok. That's certainly not a barrier to participation, but our young people ask for TikTok, so we deliver. And spread the word. So this is really how very easily we're spreading this challenge this month. And this challenge itself is not specific to your county in any way. So you can absolutely lift and take this into your own communities simply by challenging your communities to participate in the challenge. And you can do that very easily by inspiring them to participate by creating your own submission for the challenge as well, sharing your version and then saying, hey, you can also get involved and jump in on the Got Your Back challenge. And you can then share the instructions. So all of this is in a toolkit that we've created that you can easily pick up and lift and take back to your communities. We're also including e-blasts, things that make it very simple to take the challenge and then blast it to your lists and get them involved and get them invited as well. One thing that's really neat too is that this challenge, very interestingly enough, does feel really simple, but when we, hear from young people and even from like celebrities and folks that we see sharing on social media, this has been a very common refrain as of late. I'm here for you. I've got your back. I'm supportive of you. If you need me, I'm here. So it's actually really timely as well. So it's as we emerge from a really crazy 2 years where connection and connectivity felt kind of limited or digital, very detached. There's something really special about sharing this message. So major kudos to the kiddos that we worked with because they tapped in on something really cool. That's definitely on the pulse of the current environment. But so anyway, we've provided a couple of suggestions here. These are also in our toolkit, so you don't have to rush to write these down. But the sort of brainstorming around how to participate in the challenge can be really easy if you follow some of these ideas, but we totally recommend people get creative and do whatever kind of feels right for their group. Jason just put in the chat, love your theme song. I have to give a shout out. So one sidebar on TikTok is very often when a trend or a challenge is being disseminated on TikTok, the sort of elements of that challenge remain the same across the board. And TikTok is very cool because content is based around very often sound or audio. So a song or a clip of a sound that it's the same on everybody's video, and you can easily use the sound and create a new one. So we opted for a sound that went a little viral on TikTok very recently, but we felt like fit the vibe, which is ELO's Mr. Blue Sky, which I don't even know if the kids know who that is, but we love. So they know the sound. They just maybe don't know who it is. They're like, yeah, the TikTok song. We're like, yeah, ELO. Nonetheless, so you can use that sound in your challenge videos, but it's not required. You can participate in any way that feels right to you. But yeah, find a clever way to show the words I've got your back is a fun way to do it. Like I said, get personal, just share your story. You can get crafty. You can do some kind of arts and crafts, stop motion, maybe, whatever feels great to you. You can tell a story of a time that someone was there for you. You could write a little song, do a little dance. Like I said, show an example, or if you're in a team or a club, getting everyone together to submit a challenge together is a really fun way to participate as well. So that is the Got Your Back challenge. Like I said, we've got all of this information in a toolkit to make it really easy to take and share back to your own communities. You can follow us on TikTok at Got Your Back Challenge to see the submissions that are coming through as we're trying to repost them when we can to share broadly to our audience as well. But I wanted to share a second piece of the campaign that really grew organically out of, again, the feedback that we were hearing from young people as we were hosting these focus groups. And that is a message that they really wanted their parents to hear. So ultimately, when we would host these focus groups, we would always ask the question towards the end, what kind of conversations are you having directly with your parents or guardians about mental health? Or is that a conversation you're having at all? We put this question out into the Zoom meeting or wherever we were, and almost inevitably every single time the first response that we would get would be some student raising their hand, and they would start their answer with, well, I wish my parents knew. And it would really just kick off this cacophony of responses that all began with this notion of, there is something that my parents are not understanding, and I wish they knew it. And I'm having a hard time helping them understand that. They were not always able to articulate that, but that's really what we heard every single time. And what was interesting was it was the same answers that we were getting, whether it was a 7th grader or a 12th grader, whether it was a charter school or a public school. What we were getting was, I feel like my parents perceive things about my mental health incorrectly, right? Like I say that I'm, when I do say how I'm feeling, they don't hear what I'm saying, or I don't feel like I can actually say what I'm thinking because I don't want them to feel like they're being a bad parent or that there's something wrong with me. Yep, they take it personally. A lot about miscommunication around behavior, right? Like when I'm on my phone, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just decompressing. I'm really stressed. And so sometimes I take that out on my parents and I feel bad, but I don't know how to say it. These really, really powerful statements that we heard from young people. And so what we decided to do as a second piece of this campaign was actually put together a PSA video featuring the exact phrases that we heard from students and students who participated in as sort of actors in our PSA, and a message from a really wonderful school counselor who we also worked with from York County, really so that we could easily and quickly on social media share what we were hearing, this message of what I wish my parents knew to parents during Mental Health Awareness Month. So I'm going to play that video here. It's just 60 seconds, but let's see if this will go.
I wish our parents knew.
I wish our parents knew.
Wish our parents knew.
Wish our parents knew.
I wish our parents knew that just because I'm on my phone, that doesn't mean I'm ignoring you. I just need time to decompress.
Talking about mental health can be hard, but it helps if you just offer to listen.
Sometimes your questions can feel like an interrogation.
When you ask me how I am and I say I'm fine, it's not because I don't want to tell you. It's just really hard to find the words.
I don't expect you to have all the answers.
Just because I'm struggling doesn't mean that you're failing me as a parent.
Your love and support means the world.
Even if I don't always show it, I'm grateful for the things you do for me.
Parents, our kids are always communicating to us in their own ways. It's up to us to hear them. In honor of Mental Health Awareness Month this May, we can all work to stand next to and support our children who are struggling with mental health challenges. We know it's not easy, and you are not alone. So visit our resource landing page to learn more. Let's really shine a light on mental health awareness this month.
Okay, so just quick and easy, but it really reflects what we actually heard from our students. So we wanted to create this asset because we wanted it to be super shareable. So in the toolkit that we created for the Got Your Back Challenge, there's a second section which will help you share this actual video with your network. So it can be a really easy and simple way to share something powerful during Mental Health Awareness Month. And we've already created the social posts to make it really easy. Of course, you can create your own captions, but we wanted this to be, like I said, an asset that could be easily shared because I think it's a powerful message, a strong message, and it's coming straight from the young people themselves. So in the toolkit, you'll find this video and the social media posts, but the QR code and the links that you see in that video, the tiny URL, they drive to our landing page, which we created for Mental Health Awareness Month on the York County Human Services website. And there you can just find more information about both the Got Your Back Challenge and the parent video, as well as a really hefty resource section, which has lots of great resources that can be effective as parents and students try to open up this conversation about mental health awareness, hotlines that can be called if resources are needed, that kind of thing. So if you're wondering kind of where that drives to, that's where, which is all in the toolkit as well.
I wish our parents knew.
Speaking of the toolkit, I am going to click into it so I can show you, and I'll come back to this page, but you can scan this QR code to access the toolkit itself. And if you are in any capacity in a role that you can share and elevate either the Got Your Back Challenge or the Parent PSA video or both, and it can be a helpful resource for you to sort of take the effort out of having to create net new Mental Health Awareness Month content, then this is for you. So I'm going to click into it now so you can see. Can you still see my screen? Cool. So if you click in, you will find this Google Drive chock full of information. So there's all the background information that we discussed in our presentation is here. So if anyone's asking or you're curious about what we've done, it's all captured here. And then our ask to you, how to use this toolkit. So it's a pretty simple checklist if you want to jump in and elevate this content during Mental Health Awareness Month. Big and center, a link to our landing page. So if you want to drive folks to a page to learn more about the challenge as you're sharing, you can do that. And like I said, it's also chock full of resources at the bottom. Instructions on how to participate in the Got Your Back Challenge in case you didn't grab that quick little explainer from a graphic. We made it nice and easy here. Some examples to inspire you to get started. Some captions, we've already pre-written them. So when you do make a challenge submission, if you're like, well, now I don't know what to write, we've got you covered here too. We've got social posts that you can share through your own pages that already exist on how to encourage others to participate. So inviting your communities to participate in the Got Your Back Challenge. If you click this link here, it'll take you to a folder with additional social media images that we've created. Some caption options as well. This is the PSA post for parents. You can actually find the video here on YouTube. And if you'd like to share this on your own pages, you can just copy and paste these captions here and share the video itself, or you can create your own. And then we've also written some e-blasts. So you can send these off to your listserv, one to share about the Got Your Back Challenge and invite them to join you, and another to share the parent PSA video if you'd like to share that resource. We've also got a flyer for the Got Your Back Challenge to get folks to participate. Here it is. You can download and print this and have this hung if you know bulletin boards in your community that you want to tack it up on. If you are a club leader or youth group leader, you can pin that up on the board as well. It just synthesizes very quickly how to participate in the challenge. And then another sort of piece that I'll share with you all is that in York, we are incentivizing or hoping to incentivize each individual school district to participate in the challenge by creating a little bit of an inter-district challenge that we issued just in York County we shared it with basically with counselors and club advisors so that they would share it with their communities. But we effectively said, whichever school has the most videos as part of the Got Your Back Challenge will be awarded with a trophy that crowns them the TikTok Challenge champions. And we're also going to be we haven't decided who yet, but we're going to be getting a cameo video made by a TikToker, very likely, to say congratulations to whichever school wins to incentivize their participation. And we're just tracking that by having them add a hashtag with their school district to it so that we can see where they're coming from as they're sharing on social. So another fun thing to consider is you can actually incentivize the challenge if you want to get your communities involved. If you work at a school or you work in a group and you really want to incentivize participation to help share the message, it's one fun way to do it. What did I miss, Rhea? Anything?
Oh, you really covered it all. That was awesome.
Awesome. So I will leave this up on the screen here then. You can scan this QR code for the toolkit, but we will be sending that around after in follow-up to this webinar as well. The link to the landing page is just there. It's just yorkcountyhumanservices.org/mental health month. And our emails are here also. I know Rhea and I are happy to connect with anybody who wants to talk about bringing this to your own communities, or if you have questions about utilizing social media, we are here to help. It's a deeply important topic to the both of us. So we're just thrilled that we were able to do this work with Colleen, her team, and all of your county, and that we're already underway is really crazy. So that's enough of my soapbox. Does anyone have any questions?
There were a few questions. One was, and I think we kind of just answered this, is how do you get the toolkit here? And then, like I said, everybody who's attending today, we will send out, hopefully tomorrow, if not the next day, just the links, the PowerPoint and everything else. And then we'll also post the webinar as well up on one of our pages, and we'll share that as well of where that'll be posted so that you'll be able to get all of that information. So that was one of the questions. The other question was, how often do you post on TikTok to stay connected and engaged with a youth following?
Great question.
That's a difficult question and a great one, because I'm sure it's there for a lot of people.
I think that's a hard question to answer. It's just like a one answer and have it end all be all. I feel like if you're looking for like, oh, what's the bare minimum I need to post to make it worthwhile, I would say, a weekly, but like a bi-weekly, weekly video would be good. However, it's all up to, what would you say, Paige? What would your answer be?
I mean, the more the merrier, I guess, but without, feeling like you need to post 48 times a day. Honestly, though, I would say quality over quantity. So, posting just for the sake of posting will not help you reach more people. We have found, we have tried many methods, but sharing really quality content and coming back to that notion of educate, entertain, inspire. If you are posting, I would say at least once a week, ideally once every other day, maybe. I don't want to put firm rules on it, because you will find some people that will say to post 9 times a day and others who will say it doesn't matter. But yeah, like at least once every other day, a couple times a week, keeps you engaged. And you can also do sort of outbound engagement on any social platform too, right? You don't always have to be creating content. You can go out and interact with content that others are creating. That goes just as far in terms of growing your audience and staying connected to young people. So that would be my answer. I know that's like a wishy-washy one, but.
And I would say at the end of the day, just if you're forcing yourself to create content, back to what we said earlier, it will come off inauthentic if you're feeling like you're forcing it. So don't create content unless you feel like you have something to provide, whether it's educating, inspiring, or entertaining. And don't post if you don't feel inspired, because they'll pick up on it. So it's better to have nothing than have a bunch of videos that's like somewhat valuable. So very long-winded answer.
It's the really the $1 million question, but
yeah,
in our experience, a little goes a long way.
I guess too, you guys showed that authenticity when that whole parent video came out. That was not planned. That was not part of the plan. And Ray and Paige picked up on it. And from there, that's how we got that to happen, just by organically it came to be. And in fact, I wanted to see, Paige, not to put you guys on the spot, that video does have a skin around it with York County as a template, but can we also just post it in case other people want to use it without York County, just the raw?
Yep, we can.
Yeah.
And I can add.
It's also posted on our TikTok too, and can be saved directly from there. Like if you go visit our TikTok page, that parent video is on there, and you can save it directly to your device if you'd like to have it that way. But we could also figure out a way to post it with just the video and not the York wrap.
Yeah.
On YouTube.
Easily done. We'll add it to the toolkit.
Yeah.
Want to share. So this is such a great campaign. I want everyone to take advantage of it. Paige and Ray did an amazing job along with the kids. Without the kids, we wouldn't have gotten such a great message out there.
We can't wait to see all of you doing your own Got Your Back challenge.
We'll be looking. Don't forget to tag us so we can see them.
All right. So I did get, there was a question about where it'll be posted. So I did put in there where it'll be posted, the webinar. There was another question, which was, so what's a fun trend on TikTok that might be good for this kind of event? Like, is there something that's like really landing, I guess, or hitting in the TikTok world that might bring mental health awareness, I got your back, that whole resiliency piece aligned?
I would say that there are so many trends out there. Also because trends are very like quick, right? So what's trending right now might be not trending anymore next week. And it's kind of all about how you understand the trend. And like what, if you think it's a trend, meaning like you've seen like 4 different videos using the same sound or using the same format of the video, is usually how you'll identify something as a trend. But there's so many different ones out there. I think the best way to answer that would be pointing you to the direction of, so there's an app and a website called Trend Talk, TOK. And on there, it'll show you the trending sounds from like the past week. And it'll even show you like trending sounds in the US, trending sounds in Europe. And on there, just by going to click on the sounds, you can scroll through the videos and find trends that way, if you don't see them organically on your For You page. So I think as opposed to picking out 1 or 2 trends and giving you some ideas, since there's so many, just pointing you in the direction of where to find a space that shows you what's trending. So Trend Talk, or even just going on TikTok in general and searching, hashtag trending, hashtag trends, hashtag, those kinds of things to inspire you. Would you give any more advice on that page?
I think that was perfect. I was going to try and come up with one individual trend, which will, as soon as I speak it out into the ether, will become irrelevant because I just know it. Yeah, I totally agree with your recommendation. Just keeping an eye on it.
But these are great questions.
Let's see here. All right. Let's see other questions. Let's see. That is all of the questions that we have. I know that we're a little bit early. So I just wanted to give opportunity. If anybody, you can always, I think you should be able to raise your hand or just request to be unmuted if you have a question, or put it in chat, or the Q&A, and we can definitely grab any questions. Let me try to think here. What other things? Will this go on beyond May?
What a great question. We would never shut it down if it had momentum. That would make my heart sing if it goes beyond May. especially because it's timely to Mental Health Awareness Month, but this topic is evergreen. It can always be discussed. And as we're seeing, it is a topic that is discussed very regularly on social media, especially by young people who are vulnerable and share and open about their experiences and look to one another for connection. So it would be my hope that it does carry on after May, and that we can utilize the Heritage Month as an opportunity to talk about it, but that it's a discussion that continues because it's never ending, obviously.
And we're definitely hearing people are saying that, yes, it's important, and they really want to hear more about what's going on. And people are saying, if it's relevant and it's still there, then I think then they're saying, yeah, absolutely, it's
Awesome.
good to keep. And I think, like, in looking at it, the Got Your Back Challenge, it really is beyond just the idea of one thing. So this idea that it can, it's very much adaptable. There's always the need to have your back, to feel supported, and to know that it's there.
Totally.
Okay. Q&A, let me see here. No, it's not working. All right. How long does it take to create and record a TikTok video? I think seconds to hours, I'm sure.
It really depends on your experience level. If you've never done it before, give yourself some grace and approach it with, give yourself maybe a half hour and just have fun with it. And it's all about your experience level. But ideally, TikTok is at 60 seconds or less. And, even the examples that we had posted, I think neither of them were longer than 30 or 45 seconds. So if you can get into a quick groove and you have the idea for what you want to film, it can be super simple. It doesn't have to be long.
And I'm guessing with TikTok, and this is my lack of knowledge and a big assumption, if I decide to do it and record myself on that first take and I hate it, it doesn't automatically just post to the world, unless I probably would hit post and go through a couple other things. Are you sure?
Yeah.
So
no.
Yeah, even us, it takes us a couple tries to do our videos. So we are very grateful for the ability to re-record.
And if you search on YouTube how to post a TikTok, first of all, you will not be the first or last person to search that ever. And it is actually really easy. I will say this much, and I am a social media manager by trade, and even I was hesitant to learn a new platform like TikTok just because it functions very different from an Instagram or a Facebook, just how you use the tool. So I was a little intimidated at first myself, but the best way to learn is just to try, just to open it up and play around. So yeah, you can pull up a quick little video how to post a TikTok, but it's very simple. It's just sort of like a camera app. So you can actually, stop and start recording. Like Ray said, it will not automatically post for you. So it's a very forgiving space. And I will say one of the best things that I love about TikTok, and that I'm grateful that this was actually the space we got to create this, is it is the least, I would say, judgmental platform of all social media. Anything sort of goes in a good way, right? Like you can be yourself, have fun. And whether that's high quality or low quality, or your first TikTok or your 100th TikTok, it has the same potential of being seen by a billion users. So it's a very cool space to just try and experiment. And you can always delete it if you hate it later. So.
And I just saw in the Q&A, you did have one person that put one out there already. So I just sent the username to you all, and the panelists in chat. So you'll be able to check that out. So thank you.
Thank you.
Anonymous attendee.
I'm looking at it now.
All right. So just seeing all the questions are kind of drying up, and looking at our time, we do have a couple of minutes left. But I do want to just put a couple of things out for the room. I did put in chat, and you will get an email. Should get an email tomorrow. That if you haven't participated, you should actually, and when you leave the webinar today, the opportunity just to take a brief evaluation. They are important. It helps us really understand and ways that we might be able to improve things. So it's very helpful for us. And the other piece that we wanted to put in there is we do have another webinar coming up on Thursday, May 19th. This is a pandemic has created a mental health crisis, schools, mental health, and what teens have to say. So we've worked with a group of youth from Jewish Healthcare Foundation out of Allegheny County that are going to be talking. They're very much in tune with mental health and advocacy for fellow students. So it should be a really exciting youth-driven presentation coming up next Thursday. I'm trying to think here, and let's see here. And then I also did put in the chat, we also do have our current webinars. We have the ones that we've recorded as well as our upcoming ones. That's located on the pacarepartnership.org under our webinars page. And with that, lastly, I just want to thank Colleen, thank Ray, and thank Paige for being here today. And really a terrific presentation. It gets me out of my comfort zone. I'm not really a TikTok social media kind of person. But it's really interesting. And the fact that just some of those facts really amaze me. Like the fact that 43 times a day people are opening that app up to investigate and see what's happening. It's just very interesting. And like I said, I've had the opportunity to work with Colleen for many years and get the chance to meet Paige and Rhea. It's absolutely incredible just to see the work that they're doing, and definitely looking forward to all of the people that are attending today. Any way that you can support, get this message out, it is our request, and we look forward to collaborating in the future. And with that, thank you all.
Thanks, everyone.
Any closing comments or any comments? If not, we'll give everybody a couple minutes of their day. Thank you all, and look forward to seeing everybody in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you, and have a fantastic day. Like I said, we'll send everything out next day or two with the links to the webinar and as well as the links to get all the toolkits. Thank you, and have a blessed day. Bye all.